Hi everyone. Today we're gonna take a look at how I prepare my house and garden for summer. This video might be a little too late for some of us here in hotter climates, but if you live in the Gulf Coast area, here are a few tips that you can use to withstand this kind of weather. The humidity here is incredibly overbearing, and the heat is usually so high that most annuals stop growing during the summer months. So we'll look through all these things that we can do. Of course, we started in the house, and actually my front door needed a refresh. I hope you enjoyed this video. I think we should start by going over the garden and cutting the remainder of your spring crops, the cool weather crops like your cabbages and cruciferous. So this is a good time to do a last batch, bring them in and clean up after them, and actually hopefully plant something over them. And while you had it, go ahead and change out your candles for the house. You can actually make a beautiful arrangement just by putting together the bounty of your garden with a candle and a bouquet of flowers. This is also the time to work on mending things that are falling apart in the garden, which is a constant because of the weather. If you have raised beds, sometimes they need adjusting or nailing. Usually a heavy laden branch with fruit needs to be supported, and your fruit and vegetables that are growing throughout the vegetable garden also need support. Shading is essential for our gardens. I have these cloths here that I have put in my flowers that need a lot of sun, but yet in our region they cannot bloom. So mostly what I'm doing is, because of the heat of course, mostly what I'm doing is we are giving them shade to protect them through the summer heat as they kind of go dormant, and then in the fall they should be able to bloom for you. I know it's kind of odd to have foxgloves in the fall, but that's when I have it. Usually that's when my garden decides, okay, it's time to bloom. Early morning when I drink my coffee is when I come out here. The heat is not intolerable yet, and most of my backyard is shaded that time of the day, even though it's still humid. But that is the time I take to go around and check on pests, things that need to be deadheaded, and if there are any detritus or rotten leaves, this is when you pick them up and keep them clean. Those leaves usually are a haven to insects that want to hide away from the heat, so get rid of it. Also, for your flowers, for a pest infestation, we have lots of little there's a moth here that just decimates parts of my garden. For that, I usually use BT. So we have this awful little caterpillar earlier in the spring. It's called, I forgot the name of the thing, but it's horrible and it's deadly. So if you see one, don't touch it. When I see them, out comes the BT. It is an organic defense against really heavy infestation. If you have a leaf disease, I think the best thing is to spray the leaves with a mixture of peroxide. I think a cup of peroxide per gallon of water. That might be too much, but I don't think you can hurt the plants with this mixture. And it will get rid of most fungus or spot diseases. I actually didn't do that this year to the garden, but highly recommend it. Adding mulch to your flower beds will also reduce the temperature that the roots are going to be in, and it will protect the roots from dying. Even though the plants will not be growing, they won't die because they're so hot and the scorching sun have destroyed their roots. So I use cedar, double shredded cedar mulch, and that's what has been recommended for me. Also a magical treat for compost. The dirt that I fill my flower beds every season is called black cow manure. You find it at Lowe's. A good sign of a healthy garden is the wildlife that it attracts. So make sure that you have a little water source for the thirsty squirrels and the bees. They love my water fountain. Make sure it's clean and full of water throughout the season. Don't use pesticides, because when you kill something, you're killing the good things as well. Also, if you have anything that you were trying to grow from seeds, this is the time to pot them and just keep them in a shaded area, but do go ahead and put them in a pot. The starter kits are usually not enough, and they don't have enough nutrition to support the life of a seedling. So move them to a bigger pot, keep them in the shade. If your seedling does not have true leaves, keep them where they are. Maybe bring them inside until they have true leaves and you can transplant them into a bigger pot. And finally, we need to clean up that patio. I found this Clorox anti-mildew works beautifully on my cushions. I bought these cushions, the cushion covers, at Target a few years ago. Maybe this is my third summer, and they're still looking pretty decent. And all I have to do to get rid of the mold is spray the solution that's already mixed for you. So yeah, and I'll put a link maybe if I can find it. And it does wonders. Instead of me having to wash it, I hate dealing with the outside cushions. They are gross and it's hot, so I hate getting them out and putting them in the wash. So this Clorox product really helps. Freshen up with new pillows. Don't forget to bring your little plants that you have in pots to some shade, and you're set. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope all these tips were super helpful, especially if you live down south where these temperatures are incredibly harmful for your garden. All these tips will help you over summer your garden. And come back next week because I will be reviewing a few products that I have bought to help me through the summer, both my skin, hair, which is still wet, sorry about that, things that we all need. See you next week.